The lives of the conjoined twins Abby and Brittany Hensel changed forever when they decided to get married. But this love story is anything but a fairy tale. It has become public knowledge that their husband had been keeping a terrible secret from them, that he did not marry them purely out of love. The girls bravely told the public the truth, that they had been fetishized by a man they trusted and loved. This development in their lives will shock those who have loved the girls since they were born and fans that have followed along and kept up with their story through news articles and their reality television show. The conjoined twin girls Abby and Brittany Hensel were born with a special connection that made them the center of attention as they grew up. Their unique circumstances did not stop them from living their lives and doing what all other girls their age were learning. For example, they learned to drive, play sports, make friends, and even go to college. They learned how to operate as one with great poise and dignity while learning how to express their individuality. However, this careful balancing act of equals was challenged as soon as they thought they had mastered their delicate existence. When Abby started to feel a pain in her stomach, a pain that her sister Brittany could not feel, what did it mean when their shared body turned on only one of them? This incident brought up a lot of fear for the girls and their family as they realized they had to confront a lot of the buried worries and dread regarding their fragile state of health. Growing older meant confronting the harsh realities of the world and of the illnesses and pains that plagued adults. And up until this point, they had managed to confront every cruel truth together. After all, they had faced every whisper, stare, and judgment from the world together with the support and love of their parents. But now their parents could not guard them from the trials ahead. While the girls were able to pass every test and become teachers, questions of a more personal nature began to bounce around in their heads. Questions about whether they would be able to fall in love and get married. Whether they would be able to have children. And soon these questions were not just internal but being asked by the curious people around them. However, this curiosity, while innocent and well-meaning at first, began to take a different tone. The line between malicious gossip, sweet interest, and obsession are not as clearly defined as one would think, especially not when it comes to the lives of these two women. This would only be proven with the entrance of someone completely unexpected, someone whose true intentions were hidden behind a kind smile. It is through this person that it would become apparent to the public that the difference between control and guidance were two very different things, as the sisters' hard-won achievements were soon under threat. The story of these two sisters does not begin and end on a heartwarming tale of love conquering all. Instead, it is a tale about trust and betrayal and the dark side of mankind. It has taken an incredible amount of resilience for Abby and Brittany to get where they are. It isn't just their physical limitations and their grace in the face of those struggles, it is also about how they have been able to navigate living under a spotlight. These struggles were difficult and public for anyone to see, but shockingly, there were still some secrets they were hiding, secrets that would soon make headlines. Their lives changed when they met their own Prince Charming, someone who saw them for the individuals that they are and who treated them like two regular women with their own hearts and joys. But the girls would soon realize that their prince's offer of marriage and a life of never-ending happiness was nothing but an illusion. Something was not quite right with the picture. A seed of doubt planted in their minds as they reflected on some of the strange comments and remarks he would make. But deep in the throes of first love, the engagement and wedding day were still on. The day of the wedding was filled with joy, and marriage was a successful new adventure. But things slowly began to become clearer as they realized that their new husband's smiles were at times strained or false. Nevertheless, the two sisters were determined to enjoy their lives together. However, their husband's secrets would not stay hidden for long, and what they learned was heartbreaking. After their marriage, they realized a terrible truth: their husband did not love them as he should. A typical groom would speak poetically about the beauty of his love, smile, and laughter. But for this husband, it wasn't those things that attracted him to his bride. Instead, it was a sick fascination with the way the two sisters were conjoined that turned his head. This fetish was hidden underneath promises of true love and concealed his true interest. Living with their new husband only made things all the more fragile, threatening to shatter the dream world they had built up in their minds. Where they were normal women in love with a partner to hold and love them, instead, they noticed how their husband enjoyed parading them to strangers, basking in the interest and shock of strangers as they beheld his wives for the first time. What was meant to be a sacred bond was turned into a mockery. But these two determined women refused to let him break them and define their lives. These two had faced challenges far worse than this. While the two sisters may have thought their doubts existed only in their own minds, they would be wrong. Their friends and family quickly realized something was off as they began to notice how strained and reluctant the girls were, not at all like their usual selves. The abusive and harsh conditions of married life left visible stress on them that they couldn't completely hide. However, even during this difficult time, Abby and Brittany remained strong and inspirational to thousands around the world. At their core, they were heroic in nature, and they knew they would overcome this challenge. One night, their husband crossed a boundary that pushed the women to ask for help. This help led them to run to freedom and safety. Their story and lives belonged to them once again. Public attention shifted back to them, but this time it was with greater empathy as the truth trickled out of their small circle of confidants. Abby and Brittany would prove that there is always hope and reclaim their own story and lives. This freedom led them to use their platforms for good and to speak out about disability abuse, deception, and the duplicity of people. Their story, now with an added layer of trauma and tragedy, shifted from one of survival to one of empowerment. No one could tell them how to bounce back from such a difficult situation, but it turns out they didn't really need the advice. They managed to take what happened to them and turn it into an opportunity to warn others. Their desire and ability to connect on a deep level with others is what makes them so special among humankind. The deep desire to be known for who they are beyond an extraordinary diagnosis was remarkable and highlighted their humanity. They wished to be seen for their true selves. As the sisters moved on with life, they laughed, loved, and taught the next generation and showed that even betrayal and heartbreak would not destroy them or their self-esteem. The true story here is not about a disgusting and faithless husband but about the glorious triumph in preserving despite the odds. The bond between the sisters is remarkable, but there was more behind this bond than some would think. At some point, they stopped asking if they could be separated and instead decided that they preferred being together. They learned to love their lives as they were and in time learned how to block out the whispers, especially when Abby and Josh Bowling got married. This nurse and former U.S. Army veteran had a dark curiosity for the twins, but on the outside, he appeared to be an angel, someone with an open heart and mind that could learn to fall in love with a woman who was one soul and two bodies. The marriage between Abby and Josh brought up invasive questions about their intimate life. After all, Brittany could not leave them to their own devices or offer privacy. She was inextricably a part of this marriage. Abby and Brittany did not want to share these details. They had shared and exposed so much already that they wanted these details to remain their business alone. This decision allowed speculation to run wild as people decided that this meant Josh was a man who married Abby because of her condition and nothing else. When these two sisters had made a life together, they also had no choice but to share everything with each other, but it does not mean they have to share with the public. This is why they have decided to guard their privacy more intentionally moving forward, especially when it comes to their intimate lives. Thank you for watching and subscribing. What do you think about the trials and tribulations these two sisters have had to overcome as they live their life in the spotlight? Do you think you would have done anything differently in their shoes? Let us know in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure to leave a like and turn notifications on so you never miss an update.